It's an important topic, as thousands of employees in the food service industry are injured every year. But it doesn't have to happen. Many injuries are simple cuts, burns, scrapes, and other minor injuries. But even one injury is too many. Is it possible to work in this industry without a minor injury? After all, the kitchen and food service areas are busy places, many things happening. Food handlers, cooks, waiters, and waitresses, beverage servers, and a host of support personnel can't always be concentrating on anything except providing quality food and excellent service. We'll agree you work in a fast-paced environment, but safety won't slow you down or make your job more difficult. It'll actually save you time and make your job easier. That's a straight fact. And that is what this program is all about. Explaining how safety can be and is an important part of your job responsibility. Let's explain this a bit more. If you are aware of potential hazards, you can make good judgments and decisions that will allow you to perform your job without an accident. As an example, let's look at a common injury occurring at work and in your home. It's called slips and falls. It's just an accident, and there's not much you can do about it. Wrong. Slips and falls are caused by not paying attention to where you're walking or the footing under you. Slips and falls in the home occur most often in the bathtub. It's a slippery surface, and then you add soap. Now that's a slip and fall waiting to happen. If you're aware of the hazard, you can subconsciously think safety before you enter the tub. You might even consider a rubber mat, but that doesn't guarantee an accident-free bathtub. Thinking about the hazard and being cautious in this situation will prevent the accident. Safety awareness is the key to safety. At work, there are many hazards occurring on a daily basis. Spilled water, ice cubes, broken glassware, silverware. All these things pose special hazards. Of course, you should immediately clean spills or items on the floor or in areas where they shouldn't be. But the only thing that's going to prevent an accident is for you to be aware of the hazards and pay attention to your walking surfaces. Preventing slips and falls doesn't take any time from your job, and it won't slow you down. Take our word for it. Safety awareness is the key to accident prevention. Okay, let's press on to recognizing a few more hazards so you can be an accident-free employee. We won't list all the hazards, but we'll review some of the more common hazards found in the food service industry. This brings us to those nagging minor cuts and scrapes. Obviously, if you use knives in your job, you immediately recognize the hazard. Or do you? When cutting meat or vegetables, handling and storing knives, sharpening knives, and washing knives, do you really think safety? After all, you do this day in and day out. It's natural to forget how hazardous these tools can be. But that's where you come in. Every time you pick up a knife, think about the hazard, and then use your good judgment to complete the job safely. It's when you're not paying attention to the job that knife injuries occur. Sticking your hands into dishwater without knowing what's in there can result in a knife cut or puncture. Keep your knives sharp, but don't leave them laying around to cause an injury. Store knives when you're not actually using them. Use the proper knife for the job. Too long a knife or too short a knife can create an awkward cutting position, exposing you to a cut. Horseplay with sharp objects is prohibited, so don't even think about it. Always cut away from your fingers or hands. Be prepared for the knife to slip, and when it does, it won't cut you. When carrying knives, always keep the tip pointing downward. When giving a knife to another employee, extend the handle towards the other person. Use the right tool for the job. Knives should never be used as screwdrivers or to pry open cans or containers. How about the bread or meat slicer? Any potential hazards? The guard must be in place before turning the slicer on. Use the automatic feed, not your hand. If the food becomes too thin to slice with a feeder, that's the time to turn the slicer off and finish cutting with a knife. When you're through with the slicer, turn the blade knob to 0. This reduces the slicer blade's exposure. When cleaning slicers, turn the power switch off, then unplug the electrical cord. That's right, unplug the slicer so it cannot be turned on accidentally during cleaning. To clean the blade, Keep the knob control at 0 and clean the blade with a folded towel or cloth. Watch out for the business end of the blade. Again, being aware of the potential hazard and taking the steps to prevent an accident is what safety is all about. When using a meat grinder, use a plunger or pusher to feed the meat into the grinder. If the machine gets jammed, turn off the electrical switch first, then unplug the machine before trying to clear the jam. Shutting off electrical switches and unplugging electrical equipment you're cleaning is your responsibility. Coffee urns are very hot, as you well know. Clothing can catch on the faucet handle and spill on your skin. Turn the handle away from you to prevent this type of accident. There are many hot items that can cause burns: hot stoves, grills, steam tables, hot dishes. The list is quite long. Use pot holders or mitts to handle hot food or utensils. Keep pot handles towards the stove, preventing accidental spills. When working around grease, such as on stoves or French fry machines, watch for grease splatters. Water and grease don't mix, therefore don't allow water to spill on hot grease. When putting frozen foods or other items in the French fryer, lower the foods in the basket. Don't throw anything onto hot grease or cooking oil. How about those handy-dandy ice machines? No big deal, but these machines are potentially hazardous to the untrained and unwary. The motors and moving parts are protected by guarding. Never remove any guard from any type of machine or equipment. Only qualified maintenance persons should be allowed to service and repair this type of equipment. Use a plastic or stainless steel scoop to get ice. Never use glasses or other breakable items in ice machines. If the glass breaks, you're exposed to cuts and it's really difficult to remove broken glass from ice machines. Think of all the time you'd waste cleaning up broken glass from an ice machine. You also know that from time to time, water leaks from the ice machine and spills ice cubes. When you see water on the floor or some other hazard, clean it up. When you see the ice machine, think about the potential hazards and do something about it. While we're on the subject of cleaning up spills, let's spend about 37 seconds on some cleaning tips. Water spills should be mopped, then wipe dry with a dry rag or towel. When grease, mayonnaise, salad dressing, or other items containing oil are involved, after you clean the spill, use an abrasive powder such as powder cleaner. This removes the oil under the surface of the floor. This is particularly critical on tile and marble floors. If you don't use the abrasive powder, the floor will remain very slippery. When cleaning up broken glass, never use your fingers to pick up the glass. Use a small broom and dustpan. No reason to do it any other way. Quite a few injuries occur from people opening boxes with finger cutters. That's right, finger cutters. Devices such as this are designed to cut. They cut cardboard, skin, fingers, hands, arms, legs. That's their purpose, to cut. When using finger cutters, keep your free hand out of the cutting path of the blade. Finger cutter slips, and if your hand or leg is in the cutting path, you just had an accident. Well, actually, it wasn't an accident. It was caused by the person putting their free hand in the cutting path. Think finger cutter every time you use one of these devices. In a food service environment, you use many electrical tools and machines. Be a safety inspector. Inspect electrical cords for fray, cracks, cuts, or damaged plugs and receptacles. Report unsafe equipment to your supervisor and don't use it until it's repaired or replaced. If any electrical appliance or tool shocks you, even a slight tingle, shut it off and get it repaired. Electricity in wet environments can be very deadly. That's why it's important to maintain electrical equipment. Wipe up spills when they occur and report defects when you spot them. If you notice a ground prong missing off any 3-prong plug, don't use it until it's repaired. This third prong is a protection from shock. In case of a short or malfunction of the electrical equipment or tool, electricity will go to the ground through this third prong and electrical circuit or wiring. Of course, if you're standing in water or have wet hands when this short or malfunction occurs, even this grounding device may not protect you from serious shock. Safety awareness is really the key to safety. It's like fire prevention, keeping your work area clean, neat, and organized. Not letting waste cans overflow. Putting oily rags in safety containers. Knowing where fire extinguishers are located and how to use them. It's keeping grill and stove ducts clean on a regular basis. It's checking fire extinguishing systems to make sure they are charged and clean. Fire prevention is keeping janitorial closets clean. It's storing flammable and combustible materials in safety cabinets or other approved storage areas. It's knowing where exits are located and making sure they are not blocked by food carts or other materials. You can do a lot for safety without any extra effort. Simply being aware of potential hazards and using good judgment to avoid accidents. Accident is a bad word to use because all negative incidents and injuries are caused by something or someone. Safety awareness will eliminate the vast majority of injuries. Correct safety hazards when you see them, and the ones you can't immediately correct, report them to management so they can be corrected. The same goes for any on-the-job accident or injury. Report all accidents and injuries to management when they occur, not hours or even days later. Even if the injury doesn't require medical attention, notify management immediately. You are the only person in control of accidents and injuries. No one else can do it. Take the time to think about safety. Then avoid the accident. It's simple, but in the food service industry, it makes a lot of sense. Thank you.